Hey guys, good morning. Upon suggestion from my sister, I'm gonna do a day in the life video, just kind of showing our normal routine in the mornings, especially. So I'm doing this a little bit earlier than normal, just because I want to get this done before I go to work. So it's a little after 7, but I'm here at home, and well, let me turn off the light here. So we usually get up in the mornings. For me, I've been kind of getting up a little bit earlier, probably closer to like 4, um, just because I find it a little bit easier for me to get stuff done in the mornings than staying up at night and getting stuff done. So in the mornings, I get up and I have plenty of time to just like pray and do devotions and not be distracted. And then Sherry gets up with me, and then she does her devotions as well too, just to kind of start our day right. And then she actually likes to exercise. I'm not as consistent as she is, but that way in the mornings we're able to get stuff done, especially before the kids get up, because once you have the kids get up, it's hard to get any of that stuff done. So we have enough time to get all that stuff in the mornings. So I get all that done, eat some breakfast for myself. Sherry usually waits till the girls wake up, and then I leave work. And so usually for me, I'm leaving around 7:50, 7:55, just so that I can get to work around 8 o'clock, because that's kind of like our normal starting time to get to work and everything. So we usually have staff meetings, or just normally everything starts at 8. So I usually leave around that time frame, and then I'm off to work. Now, we're still at the guest house right now, just because the place that we will be um, moving into on a more permanent basis, it's finishing up the renovations right now, and we're almost done actually. Like I said before, so we should hopefully be moving in within the next week or so. But as of right now, we're still the guest house. So there's a guest house here, and my car's parked in front of our place. And then I'm gonna kind of show you a little bit around. So hopefully I can do this slow enough. So we have behind me the guest house, and so it's kind of divided into two parts. We're in the kind of like the main part, and the other part actually has like multiple rooms. I think there's 4 separate rooms that people also can stay at. And then behind me, the road continues down towards the CEO's house and the CFO's house, and I think 1 or 2 other buildings down there. And back there is actually the path where you can actually go to the river, and that's where we actually pump all the water for the hospital campus. So I think I might have showed it before. So that's behind us. So we're kind of like the back end of the hospital. Um, and then actually here, so that grassy area, that is actually where we had that wildfire that was spread across the field. So that's the field there. And as you can see, you don't even see any evidence of fire. What they did actually, once they kind of planned it out, they actually dug up all the ground, they tilled it, and so now they're making it into like a vegetable garden. So they're growing some kale and some other like local greens, I believe, and so they're able to use that for the hospital and the school, cafeteria. So actually worked out really well. So now we're heading off to work on the main road here. And so next to the guest house here on my left, let's see if you can see right there, that building there. So that is the girls' dormitory for the Ruby Craft primary and junior secondary school. So I think from grades 3 and up, all the girls stay there if they choose to pay for it. So normally they're singing or playing and talking. You can hear it's very loud, but it's quiet because they're all on a holiday, so they all went home. They just finished their first term, and so they have a couple weeks off before their second term resumes. And so, actually, right across from the school, right here, that's actually our housing that we'll be moving into hopefully by next week. And so, they're doing some of the fixing up right now, but you can see it's actually pretty close to the guest house. But we'll be able to move in there hopefully by next week. So, continuing on this road here, we have some more housing. We have some doctors and a director of nursing that lives in this building. And You can kind of see where we live in the guest house. It's kind of more away from everything. So it's quiet. It's actually really nice. And on my right here, coming up, you can kind of see there's a volleyball court. There's open fields where people are playing soccer all the time. And then beyond that, you can see a blue roofed building right over there. So that's actually the boys' dormitory, the new boys' dormitory for the Ruby Craft Primary, Junior, Secondary School. Now that's a huge answer to prayer because that's been a project that's been working on for a while. But the boys' dormitory, the old one, actually had a fire a couple weeks ago, and the boys lost everything, and it's kind of traumatic for them. But like amazingly, that opened up just in time so they can move into a brand new dormitory. So it worked out really well in terms of timeline. And then you can kind of see some other buildings right over there. So that's actually the primary buildings where they have the School of Medical Sciences. So that's a nursing school and the school for clinical officers, which is kind of like Kenyon's versions of like physician's assistants. So they have that classrooms there and some of the dormitories for the ladies. Between those buildings as us, there's a little bit more open fields. They kind of play volleyball there. And then this is our gravel basketball court here. So all the young people, usually from the schools, medical sciences, and also Ruby Craft, they're here doing PE or just spending some recreational time together. But we'll continue on this road. And you can kind of see on my left, there's another building here. So that actually is where they have the restaurant we call. So guest services provides meals for people that are visiting us here or people like us where we just kind of moved in and they were able to provide meals for us while we kind of settled here. So that's really nice. And they're open for like our staff as well too. So you pay just to get like a meal, lunch or dinner. So we can kind of, as long as we tell them ahead of time, they can make enough food for us to eat there as well too if we wanted to, not cook one day. So right now then we're at an intersection of the main intersection of the hospital. So again, back there is where we live. To my left is a road, and that's to the boys' dormitory. That's for the men of the School of Medical Sciences. And then the other road here, and that road is to the School of Medical Sciences there. So we just kind of continue on here. On my left here, our building, this big building here, that is the Ruby Craft Junior, Secondary, and Primary School. So again, normally you would hear them singing, teaching, yelling, screaming, but then because they're not here, it's pretty quiet. And they actually, all the students usually poke their heads when I'm walking by and they scream out their hellos and such. So it's always a nice little greeting for me on the way to work. And then here are buildings for some more staff housing. So you can see it's really nice for people who work here. Where if once there's availability, there's housing available for the staff, especially if they're not from around here. They're able to provide housing. And so it's actually really nice for like doctors, for example, if they're on call, they could just stay home and then they can just run over to the hospital if there's any problems. And so now we'll be coming up to where I work. So the work itself is at a building here, an outpatient. Good morning. And the building is relatively new. Like I said, they had the grand opening in November of last year. So it's one of the more newer buildings on the hospital campus. So that's our officially called the Professor Ken Hill Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation Center. So that is where I work. So you can see my commute isn't too long. So that's where I work. Behind me is the church there, the main hospital church. And then again, behind me here, that's where the main hospital entrance is to get to our campus. And then that direction, those buildings, that's where we have the hospital wards. So you can see just a little bit in my mornings. Kind of wanted to show you how my mornings typically are. Hope that was somewhat interesting. I'll probably do one sometime later, kind kind of what the rest of my day looks like, but want to at least show you that. And anyways, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.